Okay, Jason, I see your post here. If you are still having trouble at the end of the meeting, if you want to hang out for a few minutes, we can troubleshoot. Or if you know what's going on, just need time, that's fine too. Just let me know how we can help.
So for those of you who are just getting signed on, we have not started yet. We will begin in just a minute or two. I want to get everybody a chance to log on. And then know that we will be recording this session and posting the link to make it available to review afterwards as well. And then we'll have another session on the 9th.
Jack, I didn't know we were going to syndication. That changes my contract.
Sure, we'll talk about that afterwards.
Double the pay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like fair trade. Welcome to the new people who signed in.
Hey, Frank, are you there? Mike, I know you got on before.
Hey,
I was just trying to find out how, if people will be automatically added to the session when they log in, or if you have to let them in.
I've been admitting everyone in.
Okay.
Will you be here the whole time to keep letting people in, Frank, or is that something we need to watch?
That won't be an issue.
Okay, thank you. You know how picky Jack is about his company.
Stop nodding. Looks like John Kerr is having connection problems too. All right, it's 6:33. I believe in starting on time, even though that's a little bit late. I think we gave everybody enough chance, and we'll still be able to have folks flow in as time goes on. As I said, we will be recording this session, so if there's something that gets missed by any latecomers, we can always review that, and we can remind everyone at the close in case they didn't hear. But welcome, everybody, and thanks for coming. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jack Ball, and I am the Dean for Scouting U. Mike Broughton is also on the Scouting U committee, and he will be leading this session today. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Mike, and we will go through some presentation tips and open it up for Q&A before the session ends. So take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Jack. Before we begin, in a scouting manner, would anyone like to open our meeting with a prayer of thanks?
I'll be happy to do that. Hey, God, thanks for all of those who are on this call. Thanks for all the work that's gone into Scouting U and getting prepared. And we look forward to a successful Scouting U to enhance all the volunteers and the program that they deliver and the love and passion that they deliver to the various youth that we work for. Thank you for all that are on this call and what we'll learn tonight. In God's name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Scout is Reverend. Thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen for a few minutes. And you guys are going to see a PowerPoint. I'm just going to walk you through a few things here, and we're going to be switching back and forth on on different screens here. So if you get confused with what you're looking at or have questions, please just pipe in. If otherwise, if you could just keep your microphone on mute to keep the background noise down, that would be appreciated. And what we want to model tonight is a few of the tips and techniques and a few of the tools that you have as instructors for the first virtual Scouting University. Congratulations, you're breaking new ground here. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. The sky's the limit, and it's limited only by your creativity. So, you know, have some fun with this and go out and understand that with this being the first time, there are no mistakes. The only mistake is if you don't set your alarm at the right time Saturday morning. Other than that, everything's good. We're going to offer a lot of good information. We're going to model different ways to teach online for our folks. And so that's the whole goal here. So by now, most people have had an online meeting of some sort. We've been doing the isolation and the work from home and the distance and things like that long enough. Most units have met in some manner in a distant, using distance technology. So it's not a new thing, but many people are not yet comfortable with it. And so this is your chance to kind of grow as a scouter and to model a few of those tips and tricks you learn along the way. Most of our students are going to be looking for the following. Of course, the topical material for your courses. That's a given, otherwise they wouldn't have signed up for it. They're going to be looking for ways to present that material online or to use it online. So any tips you can give along the way would be good. They'll be looking for new ideas in general for online communication. And they're, of course, going to be looking for scouting fellowship because, let's face it, I don't think any of us have been scouting as much as we normally do this year. So they're going to be looking for all of these things. So after this, Jack, Frank, if you guys could, if I could pass along this PowerPoint to you guys and it could be emailed out to the class after we're done, that would be great. So anything you see on the screen will be coming your way shortly. So don't worry about taking notes. If it's on the screen, it'll be headed your way. If you want to write down extra stuff, please, of course, feel free. But I prepared a couple little checklists for you to kind of go through just to guide you. And these are very general and it'll vary from person to person. But to get started, you will be offered an invitation to a Google Classroom. That will come from Michelle Byrne. So you will want to open that email and accept that invitation. And I'm going to switch screens real quick here. If you give me just a second. And there we go. So the email will look something like this. You should see an email that says Google Classroom with a green bar at the top. Is everybody seeing that? Okay. So it'll look a little bit like this. And so what you'll do is you'll accept the invitation, click join, and then it will take you to your Google Classroom. And that will look just a little bit like this. Give me just a second. Got a lot of windows open. I'm trying not to put the wrong things up and confuse you. And so it'll pop up like this. Now, once you're in here, I would recommend that you save this as a bookmark so that you can come straight back to it. If you already have a Google account and use Chrome, this is real easy to do. Edge from Microsoft and Firefox can also do this pretty easy. But just keeping everything homogeneous using the Google products makes it just a little bit smoother. So for me, I'll be teaching Cub Scout First Aid, which is closely associated with the Whitland chip. Those of you who remember that, it's a good chance to practice the Band-Aid application. So your title should be up here. And I'm going to jump over here to people real quick. You and Michelle will be the co-teachers because she is the creator. So her name will be listed there as well. Once your students are registered, and this won't happen until we get closer to Scouting U, their names will pop up down here. And that'll be under students. And then I'll show you how you can use that with an older class of mine here in a few minutes.
Hey, Mike, can we ask questions while you're going through
No,
this, or do you
please
want us
go
to
right
wait
ahead.
till the end? Yeah, so Charlie and I are co-teaching a class, so would we both be set up as instructors along with
Yes,
Michelle?
my understanding is that'll happen. Jack?
Yes, in fact, both of you have, everyone has received or been sent an invitation. Whether or not you've found it or seen it or accepted it is another story. I'd ask you all to check into your spam folders or non-preferred, non-starred folders, whatever it is that you use. I know Google separates sometimes. But Charlie, I went ahead and invited a second time because he couldn't find his email. But I know, Dan, you have not accepted yours, and there's several that have not accepted it. So you want to take a look, because outside of me going into every classroom and looking under that people tab to see who has accepted it, I don't know how else to understand who has not done that. But I know, Dan, you have not.
I'm sorry, Dan, I clicked mute on you. You'll have to unmute.
Sorry, Jack, did you send the email or did Michelle send it? Who do we look for?
It came through from Michelle, in addition to,
Okay.
sorry about that. In
It's
addition to you guys, it should show Scouting You, which is me, as a co-instructor as well. And that's just so that Michelle and I have access into your classrooms if there's a need for us to help troubleshoot in any way.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, that's a great question. And so some of you may have had Michelle send that to a different email account. Make sure that you check that second email account. So I know that she had sent it to my Google account instead of my usual Outlook account, so that I would have my Google login and things available to me. So if you did select that, then please make sure you check those other accounts as well. Okay, any other questions along those lines? Okay, we're going to jump back over to our checklist here. So once you gain access to your classroom, you're going to want to go ahead and start building your classroom. And this is very individual. I'm going to go through some of the options that are available to you. You can use as many or as few as you want, as you feel necessary for your course. So please don't feel obligated if I'm talking about something that just doesn't fit your style. So you'll want to, if you have any files that you want to share with your students, for example, PowerPoints, notes, videos, anything along those lines. Some of the courses will share graphics for designing different things for your units. So you'll want to upload those files into your class so that your students can download them. And we'll go through that in a minute. You'll also want to post any contact info that you want your students to have so that they can get a hold of you. Some of you may have a scouting email address that you feel free to distribute. Some of you may have a cell phone. So of course, within your own comfort zone, that you'll want to kind of stick with that, but your students will have, your students will be able to see that. And of course, they'll use that to contact you whenever they want, not when you want. This is the way it seems with me sometimes. And then if you have a persistent Zoom or Google Meet link, you'll want to go ahead and put that up. If you're using the free account for Zoom, that changes every time. So you won't be able to post it early. You'll have to send an email the morning of, or schedule something like that. So, so you'll need to manage that. And I'll go through how to do a couple of those things here in a few minutes. So let's go back over to our classroom and talk about how to upload a few things. So we're back into the Cub Scout First Aid classroom. So some of the easiest ways to do things are right here on this very first page. And if you click share something with your class, this is basically like a post. Most people have used Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, something like that. And this is very similar. It works basically the same way. So you just go ahead and type your message in this box right here. And without your typos. And if you have a file that you want to link to it or upload to it, you'll go ahead and click this and then select your file.
Okay.
And then you click post. And then as your students log in, everything will be here for them to see and to download. And you can make one or more posts, however many you want. It's however you want to divide up your material. I find that if I put too much in one announcement, the students kind of get lost in it. It's like a really, really long email with a lot of information. Your audience tends to kind of lose track of things. So divide it up a little bit, especially if you have a complex presentation. Okay? And so that's the easiest way to do that. Okay. Any questions on uploading material? If you want to get really creative, you can change this picture here. You can upload a photo, select a theme, change the way your page looks. If you're going to spend a lot of time in it, you may want to have a particular theme, a scout theme with the fleur-de-lis, or since I'm doing Cub Scout first aid, I'll probably put little Band-Aids all over the place. So just something to keep it interesting and, to keep it fun. And so you'll want to do that as quick as you can. Work through those things. 2 to 3 days before the class starts, so we're talking the week before, you're going to want to send a welcome email to the students. Now, I would really wait until Thursday, maybe Friday, because people are going to be signing up late. They'll be added into your class, and they're going to have schedule changes. You know how the students are. Their friends go somewhere, and so they're going to change your class and be with their friends because we scout in groups, right? So I usually wait until Friday morning, and then I send the email out. And I just kind of keep a mental track of, or I just jot down who received the email. And then Saturday morning, I'll check again. If I have anybody new Saturday morning, I'll send an email to them again. And that way everybody's got the information. Last few years, I've sent out welcome emails, just reminder emails Saturday morning anyways, just as a matter of course, just as a courtesy. And then I included everything they needed with that second email as well. That way they had them both. And some of them will bring their device and they'll access those emails in class, and it's right there that morning. So it's easy for them to find. So in those welcome emails, you'll want to direct them to the classroom, remind them they have access to a Google Classroom, give them the link. If you have stuff they need to review before the class, remind them they need to kind of glance through that. If you think they should have it printed out to write on or to fill out or anything, give those directions as well. And then at that point, you're ready for class. All right, and that brings us to Saturday morning. Any questions up to this point?
If we're going to be sending messages out, does this classroom have a place you can click to get their email addresses?
It absolutely does. I would love to show that to you.
Okay.
So now this particular classroom has 0 students in it right now. So if I go to people, oops, let's discard those real quick. If I go to people, I have 0 students. So I really don't have any functionality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Summer Merit Badge Challenge class. And if I go to people, you can see all the scouts I had down through here as students. And so what you'll do is you'll click this box right here. And this is in the PowerPoint as well. And you see the actions down arrow. If you click this, you have the option to email. And so I'll click that. And then it brings up my Google email. And now I can just type it in. I can attach files just like a regular email. And it automatically places all of the students into the blind carbon copy so that you're not sharing everyone's email address with each other. And so that keeps a measure of privacy for your students as well. And so that's the easiest way to do it. And so as your students sign up, you'll see their names kind of populate that people area. Okay, Charles, was that what you needed?
Yes.
Excellent. Any other questions around the emails? Well, good. Okay. Very good.
Actually, I do have a quick question. This is Jeff Richardson. Are the emails restricted to just standard text, similar to what like Yahoo is, and where you're not being able to put photos or anything else into it to enhance the email?
Let's see. Can you guys see my email screen right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Down at the bottom, it's got all of the links and the emojis and everything else in here, these options. So I'm going to say you can dress it up however you like.
Because a lot of times I'll put something in Word or into a doc file, put it all together, edit it, and then I'll just paste it in, and then all of a sudden you lose all the bolds, all the highlights, all the exaggerated text and whatnot.
Yes.
So just curious. I don't work in Google much. That's why I was curious.
Okay. I will warn you that Google and Microsoft have their days. They're like any other couple, and some days they're on good terms and some days they're on bad terms, and nobody knows when that's coming. So just be prepared. And, you know, you could, the Google email has a fair amount of functions. I work in Outlook and Exchange myself. I normally do not have too much trouble transposing between the two, but every once in a while, something funky happens. Maybe it's a font that Microsoft uses that Google doesn't, and then it throws everything off. So, but if you're working with mostly standard stuff, it should go fine. That's been my experience.
Michael, I just had a really quick question. When you have a class that requires them to have a training card, how are we going to handle that? Do we need to take attendance, or is there a way we can save attendance, or say this person actually did show up and attend the class, this person didn't?
You can.
So,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say that Michelle is going to have all the classes listed that would require training codes that would be added to their training records, and she will manage that based on the folks who actually show up. So it would behoove you to try to do some sort of record of attendance.
Okay,
I
thank
believe
you.
that's something that can be done within the tools here, right, Mike?
Yes, sir. They've got a couple options. They can create a something within the Google Classroom where a person would actually sign in, or we are on Zoom right now, and if you take a look at the chat function, you could have everyone simply type in their name at some point, and then you could save the chat One of the things I do for my classes at school is I will take a screenshot of everybody who's here. That's assuming the class is small enough to fit on the screen. And
well, and it looks like you could probably go into that chat feature and click under the two and probably even capture it real quickly. You might have to scroll through it a couple times, but you can get a screenshot that way.
Yes. Yes. So it whichever way you're comfortable, both technologies will have that option. With Google Meet, that'll be a little bit different. I'm not as familiar with that, so I don't know any of the nuances. So if anyone wants to share a quick trick for Google Meet, that would be fine.
Mike, I've got a quick question. The email function, if you've got nothing but scouts in your class, you've got to copy an adult to meet YPT standards?
Okay, so what I showed you guys was a summer merit badge. And so for me, Michelle was always copied on everything.
Yeah.
Michelle Byrne was always the second adult. So if you're teaching a class of adults, they may act like 12-year-olds, but YPT doesn't apply. But if you are teaching a Scout course, then yes, you will probably already have your second teacher in there, your second adult in the room with you. YPT applies in settings like this. So for my troop meetings that we've done virtually, we've made sure that 2 adults are logged in and visible and are able to monitor the screen at all times. And we treat that as the within vision and within hearing. And so are you teaching an adult class or a Scout class, or just asking in general?
Just making a point in general.
Okay, great. That is a good point. Is anybody teaching a class to the youth that's here tonight?
Not on this call.
Okay, great. All right, very good.
Well, with the expectation, and like, I don't know, I have a class that anybody could take. Should I be setting up an adult to be in the same room with me or something like that? Or is there going to be the similar like in Merit Badge Challenge where the call goes out for a too deep opportunity?
I believe that the classes are all set up under lists that either offer to youth or adults, and there aren't a lot of crossovers. So
Okay.
even though I think you think your subject matter might be open to folks of all ages, I don't know that it is specifically
Again, I don't
designated.
know, so that's why I'm just asking a question.
Sure. I mean, definitely can take a look, but usually if you go into the Scouting New curriculum sheet, it will have a list next to it, or actually a college guide that says, you know, these classes are for Cub Scout leaders, these classes are Boy Scout leaders, Scouts, BSA leaders, commissioners, and then youth. And right now, the ILST and then chief training, with the exception of perhaps a venturing time management class. Micaiah can clarify that for me.
I know nothing about a venturing time management class.
Is
But,
it not a requirement for?
Yeah, it is. It is. So that one would just be, that one's for youth.
Okay.
So if you do get into a situation on Saturday where you require too deep leadership and you don't feel that you're meeting that, I'll just go ahead and jump to my uh-oh screen. So if you have an uh-oh moment on Saturday, and again, these will be coming out to you, you can call me directly. I do have one class to teach, but I will be available the remainder of the day answering my cell phone. I will be physically at the Scouting Achievement Center. So if my phone rings, I can hand it to someone who is available, and we can get you taken care of. One of the things we might ask would be for your meeting link so that we can go in, so we know where to send somebody if they're available or whatever. So we may ask you to send us an email so that we can get in there, or give us the link over the phone. If you can't get a hold of someone on this list, then call the Scouting Achievement Center, and someone will pick up the phone there. And Frank, you may be able to speak to this as to if there are any, or Michelle, if there are any other requirements for that, if they just call the SAC directly.
That is true. We're all. Go on, Michelle.
I wouldn't call the Scout Achievement Center. I don't know that anyone's going to be at the desk. And I haven't gotten clarification if I'm working or not. So that's something we need to revisit.
Okay, so I did not say what I just said. You did not hear it. We're going to rewind for about 45 seconds. And so you're going to use the number on the screen, and the emails on the screen only. The bottom line in bold text does not exist.
Also, my number has been added to the chat on this, or you can take it down now. It's 513-310-6543. Mike, have you gone over meets or anything related to video?
Not yet. We're getting there right now.
Okay.
We jumped straight to the something's broken question. So I just added your information to the slide, Jack. So we'll get that back up for everybody to see.
And for what it's worth, I know Barbara Walker did have a question in the chat as well.
Barbara, there is a Google Drive attached to the classroom, and that you can use that as well if you want. Depending on the familiarity of your students with Google Classroom, you may need to direct them to it when you have them in class. Just show them where the link is so that they can get to it. But you do have that option as well. Okay. Good question. Okay, are we up to date? Any more questions before we go forward into the next section? Okay, so let's talk about the video piece of it. And thank you for the segue, Jack. You can, it's up to you what you'd like to use. Some of you, if you're familiar with Zoom, if you already have an account, or with Google Meets, or with Microsoft Teams, or whatever it is, that's fine. It is very much your choice, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, most of the products have a free offering. It's limited in time, and sometimes it's limited in number of participants. I'm going to go over the Google Meet very briefly here. I'm assuming that you're familiar enough with Zoom to get on it yourself. That's why you're here today. But some people are a little less familiar with Google Meet. So the address to get to it is meet.google.com. We'll go there in just a moment. It's going to be, I cannot log into it and take you through it. It will cut me out of Zoom. So we'll just have to look at a few different things kind of from the outside without actually logging in. From the page, you will select get a meeting link to share. And then if you want to do this in advance, you will, and you want a persistent link that you can use on that Saturday, you will have to actually create an appointment in your Google Calendar. And that's the way you make those links stick. Otherwise, they disappear. So if you want to use it, that is a little something about with Google Meet about getting prepared in advance that you just need to know about. And so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and take you over to Google real quick. Now, if you are using Chrome, you can use just this little hamburger button right up here, and you'll see Google Meet in your list. For some of you, depending on how you've got your menu arranged, you may have to scroll down to find it, or you can just click the link, that Google Meet link that I gave you earlier. And so when you open this up, it'll bring you to this page, and you will click New Meeting. When you click New Meeting, you'll have a few options here, and you will get a meeting link to share if you're coming in this direction. If you go through Google Calendar, let me go through my calendar here, and if we just create an appointment here, oops, and we want to add a Google Meet video conferencing, so you can add your title in for Scouting You. You don't want to limit it by time. It needs to be an all-day thing. And then all you have to do is click add that Google Meet, and then it gives you your link right there. And if you wanted to copy your link to email it to people, your copy button is right here, and you can always go back to your appointment and get another copy of that link anytime. It'll pop up here. There it is. So you can copy it to your clipboard and paste it into an email anytime you want to communicate that with your participants or anyone else. Okay, so there are a couple ways to do that. Now, once you are in your Google Meet room, it operates on very similar technology. It's set up very similar to Zoom. There are a few differences, though. You can present your screen, you'll click Present Now instead of Share Screen. And there is an add-in if you want a grid view where everybody's on the screen at once. You'll have to click a Chrome extension and add that in. So you may want to go play around with that just a little bit and see if it's something you want to use. But once you're up and running, it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. It's not very hard. I mean, there are fewer buttons than there are in Zoom, so there's just not as much to manage in there. So a lot of our kids are used to it because a lot of their classrooms are in Google Meet. And so if you're running a youth class, then they will probably know more than you, and that'll be your tech support. As so often is for me when I'm in youth and I run into a tech problem. They're like, no, Mr. Broughton, you do this instead, click that instead, and then it's fixed. So, you know, they're wonderful resources for that. So if you need to add somebody manually, you do have add others. You can just type in their email address. They'll get the link directly. So if you needed to push somebody in manually, you have that option as well. Question, can you mute people? The last time I ran a meeting there, the answer was no. So you ask people to mute. Now, I don't know if there is functionality built in at this point. It's been a while. It's been several months since I've used it myself professionally. So does anyone know that the answer has changed at all?
When I say yes, you can.
Okay.
Like his meetings are all muted.
Okay. So I will search for that function, and I will include that in I'll include that in the notes that we send out after this meeting. Writing that down on my feedback sheet. Okay. And after that, the only thing left for you to do is have fun. Just enjoy yourself, have a good time, enjoy your material, enjoy your people, have good conversations, elevate Scouters one step up the ladder, and know that they're going to take that back to their units. And it's a successful day. So what questions can I answer for you folks?
Jeff? I have a question real quick. Hopefully this is not going to happen because we've got Scouts, but planning for the horrible situation in which we have somebody who's dominating or overpowering the meeting, or belligerent, or totally distracting in one way or another, like they're juggling in the background while we're trying to have the meeting. Is there, what protocol are we to try to follow? Is there a part of the system that allows us to block a person, take a mute off or anything, or is there, and if ultimately, do we need to call somebody if that's the case? I'm hoping this isn't it, but I don't want, this is the first time we're doing it. It's easy to do it when we're all in place, but it's not when, it's a little bit more handheld when we're on these videos.
Great question. If someone is absolutely distracting your class and you feel the need to remove them, you can remove them from the classroom, from the video feed. If you wanted to remove them from registration from the class, that would be a Michelle and Frank type of thing. If since we're talking about youth, definitely their unit leader would be in on the conversation at some point. So that I would approach it like that. Of course, manage it, according to scouting law, and go from there. But if you get to the point to where it's not working, I would go from there. Jack, do you have any other feedback on that one? We see you talking, but your microphone's not working. There you go.
I couldn't find the little box there. No, so I was just trying to play in Google Meets to see if I could see from this end, but since there was nobody in my meeting at the time, I couldn't control it that way. So I honestly believe that even though it's realistic that it could happen, it's likely not to happen. And, if you feel that you can't find a way to control it, please reach out to me. Again, I can jump into the classroom and do what I can to flex my my best inner John Kerr. How about that?
Flex your guns.
Yep.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. The thing I would like to add is that anyone who is teaching in session A or session D, at the beginning of your classes, once you get everybody on, like we're doing now, we're going to ask that you help us out by sharing your screen and playing a brief video. Session A will be a brief video of me just welcoming everybody to Scouting U, and have a great day, that sort of thing. And then session D is going to be a promotional video that we're going to ask those who are instructing in session D to play at the beginning, that will promote the upcoming fall course for Wood Badge. So before we open up on Scouting U Day 12/5, probably on 12/4, we'll send one final email out to instructors that will offer a reminder to those who are teaching in sessions A and D. We'll probably, we'll already preload the link into your classrooms. So all you have to do is access that when you share. And the last thing is that it will include 2 links, one each for the coffee chat sessions that will be available throughout the entire day. One will be for Cub level chats, and one will be for Scouts BSA, venturing, and so forth chats. It will be just a room that will have a volunteer commissioner present, as well as a professional from Danbury Council, and just was our attempt to provide some sort of opportunity for social connection in lieu of the in-person fellowship gap that's created by virtual scouting. So if at any time participants or yourselves want to jump in there and just chit chat or have questions in general about scouting, you know, that aren't necessarily Scouting U related, but just a way to connect socially, that those links will be provided to each of the instructors as a kind of follow-up reminder prior to the session. Those will also go out to participants once the registration closes on Wednesday. Each participant, pardon me, each participant will receive a follow-up email saying, you know, here are your, I guess, just like we all received instructor invites to our Google Classrooms that provided the classroom codes, those participants will as well be invited to the classes they registered for, and they'll receive some sort of confirmation email that says, you know, make sure to check out the coffee chat sessions and a couple other follow-up email instructions and details on how to access the classes, if that makes sense. So are there any
quick
questions
question.
about that? Hey, Jared.
Hi. So really the Google Classroom is just a way to kind of get everybody in one spot to start and share your link to your Zoom or your Google Meets or whatever platform you're going to use. Does that, because we're not really sharing the presentation through that Google
Correct.
Classroom.
The classroom provides a place for, sorry, Mike. The classroom provides a place for you to put any messages or links, as Mike had stated earlier, but really the welcome message that should be on there should be something like, you know, welcome to First Aid for Scouters, and please click on this link to join our class. And then it would be whatever link you provide as Mike instructed. The one thing I will say, if you're going to use a free account, I would highly recommend using the Meets, because as Mike said, it's right there inside your classroom to go to that widget and select it. And B, even though a lot of us are familiar with Zoom, the free account for Zoom is limited to 40-minute sessions, whereas the Meets account is unlimited and it can hold up to 250 participants. Not that any of us will be doing that.
Yeah, I've used Meet for, I'm a realtor, so I've had one-on-ones, but I've never had groups, and I've shared on it. But every time you share, especially if it's like a PDF, it seems like you got to kind of jiggle the size a little bit, you know, so it's not consuming their whole screen, or, you know, what you want to show up is actually showing up. So I'll probably go on and set it all up ahead of time and make sure that my presentation looks presentable. I think that's
I would
what I've
also
done.
caution everyone against death by PowerPoint. It is better to have a discussion, you know, as much as Mike was able to use PowerPoint just to highlight a few bullet points to get the initial lesson across. Definitely you can do that to say, here's what we're going to cover as an overview, show them the bullet points, then get off that and interact like we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's what I've done in the classroom in the past. I've used a PowerPoint, but it has, one good thing about it is it has live links in it, and I can send it out to everybody and they can use it that way. But okay.
And I think that's the other advantage of the Google Classroom is that you can just sit there and list a host of links or each chat topic. If you, Mike, can you go back to sharing that screen within Google Classrooms, please?
Sure.
Actually, it might even be better instead of like trying to share my screen and run through a PowerPoint, just share the PDF with everybody so they can view it in a split screen or they can view it later. They'll have access to it and we can just have that discussion. Yeah.
So if you go back to that stream, so where it says share something with your class, each time you do that, that starts a conversation on that particular subject that they can reply to. So let's say the first one says, welcome, please click here to join our class. And then a second message can be established once he posts that. So now where it says share something with your class, the next one is, please click this link to review a PDF related to the first part of our class. Or, you know, if you go to classwork itself, once you post that, you can do another message that says, please click on the classwork link above for additional resources. Jack is really driving this home. And then, of course, you can go into classwork, and once you click that, I believe that there's different ways to share links. Maybe it was grades. I don't know.
You can post material.
There you go.
And so you can, if you want to simply post files, you can place them here. Although if you're going to be, if it's just files and you're not looking for them to do anything with the file, I would put them on the front page with the stream, where it's all just right up front for them to see. The classwork would be more like an assignment. So if you have a certification class where they need to complete an exam or need to turn something, generate some work for you, this would be where you would put that, would be my suggestion. Jack, did you
Hey, Mike, Chad here. I was following along. I posted under classwork and I added material. And when I added material, it put it in the stream that said I added material and you have a link right to it.
Okay.
So it ties it together.
Okay, great.
And then Barbara had a question. Can you edit the message? So Mike, can you go back in and see if your 3 dots allow you to edit that? Yep. So does that help, Barbara?
And you can delete. You can take these out, so you don't have to keep them. If for example, if you just want to start over, you can modify all along as we go. Okay. John, you asked about what are the differences if you opt to use Microsoft Teams. You would put your team link in your Google Classroom and just send them to that, and any material or any accounts that they would need to activate, if they need an Outlook account or anything like that, just give them the directions up front for that. But you can run the video portion using whatever technology you want, and you share the screen for your Google Classroom, and they'll see it all the same.
Mike, where on this screen is the Google cookie that you referred to? Because when you talked about that before, I couldn't see it. And I don't have a problem using Google, might as well, but Google Meets, but I've never used it before. And if I want to add it in there, I'm assuming you're adding it from this screen.
Okay, so what you do, right now I'm mousing over the hamburger button, the Google Apps in the upper right-hand corner. I don't know if you can see right up here.
Oh, okay, all right.
When
Yeah.
I click that, I get my Google Apps menu, all of these nice things. My Google Meet is right here.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
So,
all our videos were over the top of that. That's why I didn't see it before.
Oh, okay. I planned it that way. Okay, good questions, everyone. What other things are on your minds right now?
So this is Dan. I live on Teams like 6 hours a day. So I'm familiar with the concept, and a lot of the stuff that I'm used to is mostly what you do in a Zoom call or Google Meet or something like that. That appears to me that you just go to the classroom at the beginning of the meeting to get the link, and then most of what you're going to do is going to be in either Meets or Teams or whatever, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's the intent.
So to get familiar with the classroom, and you said we could get into that in advance, that's that link that I got to find an email yet, right?
Yep, Michelle sent those out. Oh, she's here. I'll let her speak for herself. I'm sorry.
And did you would have gotten a invitation to your classroom in your email?
Yeah, so I've got to go find it again. I've been looking here during the call and I can't seem to locate it.
Well, I can certainly resend that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
and
we'll do.
then you know, Charlie and I can work that in advance as well as do a Google Meets or something in the advance to get practice working with it before the day of the event, right?
Certainly. And if you bring your Google passwords in, we can walk through it at the office as well. Happy to walk through that with you.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, I had to search like crazy for mine too. I finally tracked it down. I got mine on September 18th from Scouting You, Dan Beard.
It can be hard to keep up with me. Just ask Michael.
Yeah, I'll keep looking. But if you don't mind resending it, Michelle.
Yeah, I'll do that right
for
now.
having to do that, but
not a problem.
Finding it. So I have Charlie's link, but I don't have the one that you sent to me. So.
Okay, so if we are connected in, our name will show up under our whatever that class name or for the training, etc. I know I tried accessing at one point and it told me I wasn't allowed to, so I'll have to see if
once you click join, the link should take you right into your class. It'll bring you to a page. If you guys can still see my screen, it'll look like this, and your class will be one of the blocks.
Okay.
And then you'll click the one that you want to go into. You should be listed as an instructor, as a teacher, under the people.
Okay. It's possible that if you were not logged into a Google account or using associated with your classroom, that's probably why it's not. For instance, I have a jbjr1967 at yahoo.com, and that's usually what people invite me through via. But I also have jack.balljr at gmail.com, and if it's because it's looking for me to be signed in under the first example I gave you. So Charlie, I know that you're under your Gmail account, and if you're surfing the internet on something other than that, it's probably not going to recognize that. And that's why you're not getting permission to go in using your code.
And one other tech item, Jack, to build on that. If you're using some work technology, a laptop from your employer, it may have certain things blocked. And because this is considered social media by many employers, you may have trouble getting on depending on your company's security policy. So that may be something to consider for some of you also.
In the same vein, we are not able to connect with anyone, participant or otherwise, instructor, if you're using a school-related email account, because they will not let access to that. It's usually a safety protocol from those school servers, not from anything we're trying to do.
Yeah. So that'll be a big item for the youth classes.
John Kerr, if you check your email, I invited you to one of those Google Meets, and we can try to see if I can mute you.
Question. Earlier, you said to get a permanent link to get into the class. We need to access that through Google Calendar. I have never used Google Calendar. Can you just set up something as we're going here and do that?
Let me share my screen. Do you have a Google email address?
I do have yes, I do have a Google email address.
Okay. So I'll walk
but
you through.
I seldom use it.
It's okay. It doesn't matter if you use it ever again. I'll walk you through here, and then if you want to hang out afterwards, we can kind of I'll include it in my notes. But what you'll do if you're using Chrome, now I'm logged into Chrome under my personal Gmail account. All you do up here, same place we went for Google Meet, you'll see Google Calendar.
All right.
You'll click that, and you will. Here's the one I made earlier, so I will go down here.
We go to December the 6th or 4th or whatever that is.
Yep. And see right here, I've already got my Scouting U in twice, as it's in my Scout book twice. And so all you'll need to do is just click once on the block, make your appointment, Scouting U course. And then you see the blue button here, it says add Google Meet video conferencing.
Yes.
You'll click that, it'll create your Meet link. And you're done. If you want to copy it and paste it somewhere, just click here to copy, and you can put it in another email and send out to your participants, or post it in your class. So
click to save that though, right, Mike?
Yes, you will want to save it. Yes. So, okay.
So Mike, I saw one comment from AJ for any of you facility and commissioner courses. He has the invitations to the Google Classrooms. We sent everything directly to him because those were created prior to him recruiting those classes. So please reach out to him directly if you need the information.
Okay, any further questions this evening? I want to be very respectful of your time. You guys have been great tonight and we've had some really good conversation. I appreciate it. And as education's the thing I do outside of scouting, and I tell you, I'm really excited to see this happen this year in this way. And this is really a big thing for us to reach out to our youth and to other adults to try to bring them up and to allay some of their fears and to help them kind of navigate through some of the things that are going on right now. So hats off to all of you for participating in this and volunteering to do this, and for some of you for trying something new. Scout is brave, right? Mm-hmm. So if anybody needs any help, wants to run through a Google Meet, wants to see how it works, shoot me an email, or any of the other folks around here that were going to be listed on the slides. And I'm sure that we'll be, all of them will be happy to kind of meet online with you and kind of go through that for a few minutes and give you a trial run. It's also good for you to practice on your scouts too, because they'll give you some seriously honest feedback, right? So
I think that's a good point, Mike, is just to make sure, and I worked this with Charlie, if you are uncomfortable, go ahead and practice. There's also if you Google how to use Teams, Meets, Zoom, whatever it is, there's usually a video out there that can walk you through some of these steps that we've covered as well.
Don't be shy.
Mike, this is Jeff Richardson. So just to understand the concept, the Google Classroom is it is like the classroom. It's like the materials are there. You know, if nobody was in the classroom, it's just you're putting all the materials there. You're giving all the information there for them to pull, take home, utilize, prep for. Mm-hmm. But on the front door of the classroom, you say enter. And so we just happen to have our Teams logo, our Zoom, our meeting, and we go in. And then so if we have a movie or if we have to stand up at the board and present, we're doing that within that media, that video media, right?
Yes.
Are we going to be, are we going to be able to pull from the classroom into that media? Or do we need to have our PowerPoint presentation, Excel files, videos, pictures, whatever it be, staged to work within the video tool?
Okay, great question. Just like I did tonight, we met on Zoom, and then through Zoom, I took you into the classroom and we looked at what was there. So you can do that. You can also, when you do your screen share, whether it's in Zoom or Meet or Teams or WebEx, whatever media you choose, when you do your screen share, it's the same rules. You can go to YouTube, you can play videos, you can run the PowerPoint right on your own computer. And for some of the media, I actually recommend that you don't pull it out of the classroom. You run it on your computer because it's just a smoother experience for everybody. So did you say that you had one that you preferred?
I work in Teams, I work in Zoom, I work in Skype, but
Okay.
the only one I haven't had is Google Meets. And if it's easier, more transitional because it's all in the one same package, I don't have a problem using it. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that I wasn't actually doing my videos, doing my things in Google Classroom, literally doing it in the video application.
Yeah. You'll just share, if you're used to Zoom, then you'll share your screen and share your computer sound, and boom, it plays the video in their feed when you share your screen. And in a similar way for Meet and Teams and such. So you'll share it through your video feed. Okay. Great question.
And just to go back to the Google Meets, John Kerr did help me out there, and I was able to mute him. So I'm sure if you get to a point, you can line item mute by selecting that person. So Jeff Richardson, your question on if I get somebody like John Kerr in there who's unruly, can I shut him down? Yes, at least I know you can shut John Kerr down.
You know, the sad thing is when we're all together again, we're not going to have the mute button.
There are other forms.
You
know. And again, thank you, Mike. I do appreciate it. I think we all can give a big round of applause for just a great effort. If there is anyone that has any questions outside of this, obviously we can, you can reach us with the information that's been provided. And I am excited. I hope you are all as well, to know that we can still make this happen for each other and for the Scouters out there. I'm honored to be in a team with all of you, and I hope if you know of other presenters who have not taken this course or who have questions, that you'll be able to reassure them, as well as maybe let them know that there will be a link sent out with this recording or to this recording. And if there's any other questions, again, we've got plenty of time. We are going to get it done, and I think it's going to be a great time. So I can't wait to find out the end results once it's all over. But thank you all.
Jack, just one more question. I know this is going to be obvious, but I mean, like, you can see my room, right, my house right now. I'm not going to, whether I drop a background in or not, but not going to have any political messages in these, and we're supposed to have some decorum based on what scouting is needed. Am I correct?
Yeah, so let's say, Jeff, I was teaching a class on a Scout is Courteous, and you went in and I had a big Trump Biden poster on the back. You know, shame on me. I shouldn't be doing that. I don't know how much you're going to be able to control that. But I will tell you that if I did have that, I may have some Scouts or Scouters who would decide that they weren't going to attend or finish attending my class.
I just was curious more if there was any recommendations of the presentation environment that the scouting, that the council needs us to abide by, so that we're not.
As long as you're not working with youth, but you can always refer to the BSA media guidelines.
Okay.
It can provide you with best practices and what expectations are. But I believe as long as you're having a good discussion like we're having right now, we should be good. I think definitely the end result is if we were all on a call like we are now, and I thought, you know, Tom Forsyth is getting out of hand, I would be able to chat to him directly by just saying in the chat feature, you can select Tom, and I could say, Tom, can you knock it off? And then I could say, hey, Tom, do me a favor when you get a second. Sorry to interrupt everybody. Take a look at your chat and see there's a message from me and see if you can help me out that way. Those are different ways that you can, you know, I guess, get your message across.
If you want to drop in a very cool background, you can go to the scouting.org and look for marketing resources, and you could get a background like mine.
Dan Baird actually offers a bunch of backgrounds that support Dan Baird, so you can check it out.
The reason why, I mean, I do that with all my the formats, but unlike maybe, I mean, everybody here probably doesn't move when they talk and speak. I tend to move a lot. My hands go, and those backgrounds become way annoying when you are presenting, when you're basically in and out like you're in the Star Trek Enterprise. You know, so it's if you stand stillish, you're
out your back window.
Do what?
I'm just wondering who's staring out your back window.
That's my bodyguard. I have a kickboxing dummy that sits in the window and stares at people coming down the street to keep them away.
So that's our hour. That's our presentation. I don't want to keep anybody beyond that. I do respect your time, and thank you so much again, both Mike and all of you, for your willingness to make this happen for Scouting and Dan Baird. So thank you very much. Have a good night.
Hey Jack, is there somebody at council that we can access to get background that I actually can show?
Yeah, Julie Whitaker.
Julie Whitaker.
Mm-hmm. And I believe if you go onto Dan Baird, you could probably search it in the keyword search, and it's going to be somewhere in there. Virtual backgrounds.